I apologize. Okay, roll call is showing present is going to be Commissioner Tawheed, Commissioner King, Commissioner Ford, and Reese Meyer is absent.
On the agenda today is a discussion of what is being called a harm statement. Commissioner King is the expert in this area, so I asked her to give us a presentation on harm statement, and so that we can get the process of such a thing. So, Commissioner King, you're on.
Yes, thank you, sir. Commissioner Tawheed, and hello, Commissioner Ford. Do you want to make an edit? I am not an expert. I'm learning right along with everyone else, which I think is probably the most thrilling thing for me because I do understand the importance of this. And it looks like now we are at, square one. What I understand is that a harm statement can be by far one of the most powerful statements. It can be something that allows us to have, one response, one understanding, and be able to use that for publicity, be able to use that during our listening sessions, and then also being sort of like the, thesis for our actual reparations report. I had an opportunity to sit in and to gather all of our subcommittee chairs. And I know, Commissioner Ford, that you were in on the initial presentation that I did to the entire commission, but there's just a couple of new tidbits that we gleaned. I think that will be helpful for us to go ahead and start that. I do know that Chairwoman Barnes is going to be asking for that very quickly. And so I would love for our subcommittee to have our part done. All of these subcommittee chairs were able to meet during a lunchtime session with Jessica. She goes by Jam, and she is the founder and president, I believe, of the NBCI Trust. That's the National Black Cultural Information. And so they just provide free office hours just for us to ask questions. Within that hour, and I'm sure Commissioner Tawheed, you would agree that there was so much explanation on how best to communicate our harm, specifically for the economic impact. And so I'm just going to go down just the list of things that I pointed out, and then perhaps I can volley it over to Commissioner Tawheed. One of the things that I think was most important for me, and my biggest takeaway, was that making our harm statement present, right? Many times we'll read a harm statement, it'll start with slavery, chattel slavery, then it'll include Jim Crow, and then the current day systemic racism, and all those are important. However, I do think, for me, my question was to be most impactful and to sort of mitigate counter narratives and arguments. Can we make it present where we're actually identifying the present harm that's continuing? Because many times when we talk about chattel slavery and we talk about Jim Crow, many may not be able to personally have an account, especially chattel slavery, to be able to create a strong argument. So part of the conversation is to make the present tone instead of a past tone. To start off with quantifying the modern systemic racism impact, and then also include in chattel slavery and Jim Crow. So that's more of like, how do we structure, in what tense, and all that good stuff. Then we talked about understanding and being able to verbalize the unjust enrichment that, other people was able to glean, was able to gain, and we were not. These are benefits that we did not receive. So as a committee, we need to think about, how do we message that? There were benefits that we did not receive, and there was unjust enrichment that white people received, that privileged them, that put them in position that advantaged them. And so how do we communicate that will be one of the things. Another thing she talked about was readdressing the injury. So how important it is for us to state and then restate that we are not bringing up something that's new, right? But this is readdressing the harm because it is and it remains current. And I like that part because that to me sets kind of how you want to create the proposal. And that's the other thing. Who are we writing it to? I don't know if we got clarity on that. And I think as a commission, all of the subcommittees need to be uniformed with that. Are we writing this proposal and the harm statement to the council, to the community, to companies? And so that's one, I don't know, Commissioner Tawhid, if you were able to get the answer to that, but I think that was probably left open for us to decide because every commission writes it differently. The other word choice. Oh, the other word choice that I really honed in on was that we write our harm statement with words like something that we are owed instead of what we need. Many times the counter narrative will be that we're taking away something from white people and we're not, right? We don't need what they have. We are owed what we're supposed to have as citizens of the US. And so that word was very important. And we talked about that as well during the meeting. We talked about also how comparatively we think about the harm that the United States as a whole has suffered as a result of, our injuries. So we talked about how racism cost the US millions of dollars. And I'm not sure if she quantified that with a number, but I do think that is very impactful for a harm statement, right? Overall, the harm done to Black African Americans cost the United States this, and this. So being able to put a number, being able to put a current injury tone to that is also what I thought was critical. Then the other thing was more of the intersectionality or the interconnectedness of harm. So, because Blacks were denied adequate education, then that created a pipeline to prison. Then that, once you're out of prison, you have a hard time with employment. And then there's economic disparities. You're not able to take care of your family. And so how does all of these harm statements connect? So we will probably, again, after we write our harm statement, which only should be like a paragraph, is what I'm understanding, then we can, in some sort of way, define the interconnectedness of all of the harm statements that we're going to produce. Then she provided several different references that we can use. One that I keep hearing is the California Reparations report that has a great harm statement. Also the Evanston one, of course, that we can also use. And then I'll close with this because I do have to leave early and I apologize. She talked about the difference between harm-based remedies versus race-based remedies. So I don't know, I don't remember fully what the full conversation was, but to cover us, to protect us, to serve in our best interest, it'd be best for us to focus more on harm-based and our wording rather than race-based. I think that was the takeaway from that part of the conversation. So that was very quickly sort of an overview of the who, what, when, where, whys, and hows that I think we really need to get cracking on. And so hopefully this can provide just some semblance of more clarity on what we need. Probably as clear as mud the way I just presented it. But if you do have any questions, certainly I'm here. We've uploaded the communication slides that I brought back from her presentation. So we do have that. And if you don't have that and you just need it, I can certainly send that to you directly. I believe I had asked Eric to put that in our repository or our library. So you can access that as well. Are there any questions? I'll pause for that for the next minute or so, or perhaps we can start our conversation about it.
Thank you very much. Very, very good coverage of the meeting that we had with JAM on the idea of the harm statement. Commissioner King, Commissioner Ford, do you have any questions on this. I understand that you had already been involved in some farm statement developments. So if you want to have questions or if you wanted to add something to this, please feel free to do so.
I think I don't know why your vocals, your audio is kind of weird, but I can understand you. It's just not coming out real clear. I think the main question go ahead.
I'll work on that. Thank you.
Okay. I think I just want to be clear on what we need to do is sit down and come up with a statement. And is that going to involve us doing more research or taking what I know it's going to do more research, but
No.
do we just need to come together and call down what the information that we're getting and put it in a statement form?
Yeah, the second one. And, that was one of the things that I think one of the commissioners had asked. We don't really need any more research. We just need to put down what it is we're doing and, very concise paragraph or two.
Mm-hmm.
And go from there. Again, it's not the reparations report. This is just, what hurts,
Okay.
what injures. And so I forgot to add this, that Commissioner Bridget Jones has a template that I'm on her committee that we've put together already that I think maybe can be shared. So I did send her an email earlier today to see if we can get that template and maybe use, and tweak it once so that it'll be kind of cohesive, but then to give us a better idea of how it's written. I do think hers was well laid out.
Okay, great. That sounds good.
Okay.
Also, I was just wondering, you spoke in terms of who are we talking to?
Yes.
And it seems to me for our particular application, seems like we're addressing it to the council people.
Are we?
That would seem that's who's going to be recommendations is going to end up to eventually. And so maybe that's the one of the I wouldn't say source, but maybe that's one of our target audiences would be our council people. That's who we're ultimately responsible to. So frame everything in that sense to address them, I guess.
Okay. And
also to the community too, but
yeah, I think you bring up a good point. Perhaps it could just be one that's sort of a blanket audience where it covers everyone, where again, it just answers the basics. I think about just the facts mail back in the day. Just the facts. And so our reparations probably would be more of the consciousness of who we targeted to and who the audience will be. But for the harm statement, and I appreciate bringing that up, the harm statement, I would say, would probably need to just cover everyone, community, council, anybody who wants to know about it.
Right. And so I think that's where our main audience, of course, when we're talking about harms, it's in the Kansas City Commission, it's tough to separate the Kansas City part and not get national with the whole thing because it's all related ultimately, but we still want to keep it Kansas City centric to a degree.
Right. Exactly. So I think this is by far probably the easiest part of our, first putting pen to paper.
Yeah.
Now that
do we need to get together personally or do that? I just like meeting and putting heads together, but I can go either way. Go ahead.
I'm trying. I'm having problems with.
We lost him.
Yeah, we were getting a little bit of you.
Yeah.
Now we're getting nothing.
Bring it back over.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to drop off here. I got to get to another appointment. But I would if you can let me get a hold of Bridget's template, and then if we all decide to get together in person, I'm certainly open to that. Are you okay with that, Commissioner Ford?
Oh yes, most definitely. One other thing I would really, really like for our economic subcommittee to consider is this conditions of retirees in our community. Uh, I'm retired, so I'm having special experience with it. But
Okay.
as I look for research on that, it's almost non-existent, especially as Black retiring.
Mhm.
And there's some harms there and as I've researched it a little bit, there's some definite harms that have been involved with the Black retirement experience and
Mhm.
why the numbers are so low if they're existing, And so I think that's just something that this subcommittee might consider addressing. Not at this time, but in the future.
I put that in the notes. Eric, can you please add that to our notes? Because I think that's a good thing for us to, yeah, it's something we don't talk about, but I'm sure it
Nobody does.
it's a significant number of Black Kansas Cityans. Okay, I need to head out. I'm so sorry. Hopefully Commissioner Tahi can get back on.
Done.
Please give a love and hug to your wife, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you. We just got back from another another appointment, so but she's really coming along tremendously. So I'm just thank God for that.
Good. Please
Thank
tell her
you.
I was thinking about her and I asked about her.
Thank you.
All right.
I will do that.
All right. Take care.
All right. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Is Commissioner Tawheed, is he we can't hear you. I see your writing there.
I think he's on via computer. I don't think he's on by it with his phone.
Okay.
And I think there was something going on. That's why he didn't have to use both in order to log in.
Okay. All right. Because I knew his audio was very confusing.
Yeah.
And I don't know why my video is out. It's just crazy.
Oh, what happened?
I'm still connecting. What do you guys think about that? You like the idea? Having shirts that say represent us? Yes, no? Questions? I know you have something that shows and screams, vamos que sí, that's something that I want to have with me. Another thing about it is that for the event of our first lunch and learn, we still need a name. So we don't have a name. So any ideas, please give it to us. My personal preference was something short, easy, English, so we can integrate a little bit of Spanish every time we can. But that is me. Any ideas?
Okay, we've
Yes.
we've
First one, and it's about education and talking about
we've been included in somebody else's move for some reason.
special type
Oh no, I have another meeting on my
Oh, that's what's
on my
going on.
phone.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Multitasking to the most max.
Exactly. And
Right.
now I can't find for some reason my screens went away.
Uh-oh.
And I'm trying to find this meeting that you're in.
Well, okay. Tahi just
There
mentioned
you
that
are.
he's not able to use his audio, but he can hear us.
Okay.
Technology is
Oh,
wonderful until it messes up, isn't it?
okay. I'm gonna put a phone number in the chat for him.
Yeah, that's what I just did also.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, I got that message from him, but I can't hear him or see. Well, I see his name.
Okay. He should be calling in a minute then.
Did you get my messages, Eric, about
Huh?
Did you get my messages about the facilities?
Yes, I did respond to it today.
Thank you, sir.
I saw part of it the other day, and uh, I've been running crazy. So today I was actually able to sit and read it. I was like, oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been really crazy.
So she's doing better.
Oh
Whatever.
yes, yes, she's really coming along remarkably. Just had to, get her blood up and some other things and it's just taking some time because you can't control doctors' schedules. They schedule for a time, but then you get in there and wait.
Exactly. Exactly. Did you put that? Did you put the phone number in the chat, or did you email it to him?
I put it in the chat. I don't know.
Okay, because I don't see it.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
Okay, so let's do this. And
Not able to use my audio. Okay, I'm not sure. It seems like, well, the chats.
copy. Okay. Let me go again. There we go.
I'm calling from the Advancement Service Public Storage Board. I was calling about an emergency work order that we received.
Oh, hold on.
The number is 888.
There we go. Okay, I just sent it to him again. So hopefully one of those work.
888-643-2667.
I'm not sure if he's trying to use the phones.
I think he's going to come in on the phone.
On his phone
Yeah,
to
he's
us.
calling.
Hmm. Well,
I don't see him yet.
yeah, I see his.
Computer.
Okay. Yeah, I see I guess it's a computer with his name on it, but and he said he can hear us, so I guess we better not talk too bad about him, huh?
Here he is. Hold on.
All right.
Oh.
Oh, muted.
There he is.
Still muted.
You there, Commissioner Tahib?
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I don't know why I'm getting an echo. Hold on, I need to do something here. Okay, that's okay. Yes, I guess to follow up on what Commissioner King has left us, there was a conversation about how we're going to work on this harm statement.
Right.
And I think perhaps the suggestion that we obviously do this offline makes more sense. I just wanted to make a couple of comments just
Sure.
for the record here and for you, Commissioner Ford,
Mm.
because I was in that meeting with the young lady who presented the background on the harm statement, and there was a question that I asked that led to a discussion of the harms-based versus race-based remedies.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked that question because there is obviously the Supreme Court has been ruled on not allowing race-based admissions or factors as admissions to colleges, and
Okay.
that's expected to have a broader implication in terms of these other in terms of other government or government finance programs.
Mm-hmm.
And so what people are doing is turning to a harms-based approach as opposed to a race-based approach, which means for reparations that we establish that we have been harmed, obviously because of chattel slavery, but then Jim Crow afterwards and the continuing problems that has caused. We've been harmed, and so we have a remedy for that harm, not based on our race, but based on that harm.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where the efforts are being made in terms of moving away from race-based, which is likely to be challenged and may be struck down because of prior Supreme Court positions. But the harms base is an area that needs to be explored. And so the idea of a harm statement is to establish that harm,
Mm-hmm.
not because we are Black, but because we have been harmed.
Right.
And that harm obviously was very obvious during slavery, but it has continued on.
Right.
And so that there's also, of course, the connection that Commissioner King made, not just from the economics, but also to the other four harm areas: education, housing, criminal justice, and health.
Mm-hmm.
That we make those connections, certainly in our report, make those connections in our report. So I'm glad I could get on to say that. But because the harm statement becomes kind of the basis for establishing that there has been a harm,
Mm-hmm.
and there has also been what was the term was unjust enrichment to others as a result of that harm. You'd raised, Commissioner Ford, you raised the issue of what the audience is. Commissioner King had raised it, and I agree with you that we're writing this essentially for the city council, the city itself, but the representatives of that city are the city council. We also, of course, have to have a way of thinking about this that also includes the community as an audience, and it might be a little difficult to bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
Because the language to the council is going to be kind of more legalistic, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
than the language perhaps to the city. But I do agree with you. I think the city council is our primary audience here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, and then going back to the harms-based remedies versus the race-based, I I,
Mhm.
uh, I could be off base, but it just seems like, when people want to deal with the harms, the race base kind of deals with the why. I mean, the harms came because of the
Mhm.
racism,
Mhm.
and I think there's I'm trying to put this as delicately as I can, and it's difficult for me. I'm not as
Mhm.
good with the language as you are and some of my academic friends. But it just seems like it's people are sparing their feelings more
Yeah.
than what the work needs to be done. Um,
Oh, I agree with you 100%. In fact, you know, these attacks on what the right, the conservatives, I'll say it, are calling critical race theory,
yeah,
which their attacks have nothing to do with critical race theory. But one of the things that they're using as part of their attack is to say that the things that are being said that about the history of this country in terms of its position on racism, slavery, and discrimination, and Jim Crow, are hurtful to white folks.
yeah,
That
and
they're being hurt by this. Therefore, we shouldn't allow this to happen out in the public sphere.
okay, yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you're right. Go
and
ahead.
our intention is not to hurt anybody, you know, but if you know, and really, I'm sorry they feel that way. I'm sorry it comes down that way, but that's not our intention. We just want to address the harms. That's basically it. But to keep
Right.
running
Yeah.
from the terminology and holding it up because of that terminology, because it hurts your feelings. Nobody cared about our feelings when we was getting hurt. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that out, and I know it's an issue that keeps being soft pedaled, and so
hmm
but that's the way I'm reading it, and I could be off base, but I don't think I'm too far off base.
No, I don't think you're off base at all. I think people are using their feelings as a way of protecting them from the truth. And but it becomes a legal hurdle we have to get over.
Right,
And
exactly.
so rather than trying to run headlong into the wall that they're
Yeah,
creating, which they are,
yeah,
because the Supreme Court is supporting it, we
right. You have to address it.
try different approaches.
Absolutely,
And you know, yeah. And
absolutely.
so what I suggest we do here is off meeting, after meeting, is that we have email conversations, but that we begin to work on a prototype harm statement. Maybe we'll ask Commissioner King if she can provide some examples for us from other sources, or
Okay.
if the person who was I forget her full name, but she goes by the acronym JAM. Those were her
Okay.
initials, and so I'll say that we can ask her to provide some example harm statements that we can then begin to modify, and hopefully next meeting we'll have a harm statement that we're able to adopt. Doesn't have to be long, but it does have to. I mean, it's a harm statement on the economics area, but also recognizing the interconnection. So I'd like to propose that we do it that way moving
All
forward.
right. Do you think we need a meeting before the next meeting, or you know to actually
Well, I guess
formulate the statement?
officially, I guess we can't meet
Okay.
except
Okay.
as a public entity, but we can do email.
Okay.
I mean, as you know, if we send emails individually, we're not meeting
Okay.
as far as I
Sounds good.
understand it. So we can work on this, and then at the next meeting we have a document
Sounds great.
that we can approve, as opposed to having to do this on a the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
We can work on it to have it done by the next meeting. If that sounds reasonable.
Sounds good.
Okay. So if let's conclude our discussion of the harm statement. We know what our work is, and we'll get it done. I think the next item on the agenda was to allow for public comments. Erica, is there anyone out in the audience that would like to make a statement, to say something? I'm looking. I don't think there are any other attendees. I'm the only one out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Sound like we may have lost Eric also.
Well, I think he's still there, but we don't have anyone out in the audience anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going to therefore adjourn this meeting, and we've got our work to do, And thank you, Commissioner Ford and Commissioner King. Of course, she's not here, but she is well appreciated her work.
All right. Well, I moved that the meeting be adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Guess I have to
And
second
we
it
are
too.
adjourned. Yes, there you go. Okay, thank you. Be in contact.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Yes, I'll take all of it. No.
There, Eric?
Are we done?
Yeah, did you get that? Yeah, we just adjourned the meeting.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I will go ahead and get it closed out. Thank you, guys.
All right, sir. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.